Hello and welcome to Levant TV headlines. The United States and Russia will hold a military meeting shortly to avoid accidental conflict in Syria, Secretary of State John Kerry said after meeting his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. The Palestinian flag was raised at the United Nations in a symbolic gesture as leader Mahmoud Abbas called on the world body to grant them full membership, warning the risk of religious conflict. The UN spotlight will be on crises in the Mideast today, with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressing the General Assembly and Russia's Foreign Minister holding a news conference a day after Russian warplanes launched airstrikes in Syria for the first time. The United States has told the United Nations that it wants commercial shipping to Yemen to increase and cautioned that vessels should only be inspected when there are reasonable grounds to suspect illicit arms shipments. And Iran has nearly doubled its death toll from last week's harsh stampede to 464, saying there was no hope of finding pilgrims missing after the tragedy. Now let's take a look at the top headlines in today's newspapers in the Middle East. Starting from Lebanon, the Daily Star leads, reporting that Foreign Minister Gebran Bassil called on other states to join in the fight against extremist violence, asserting that Lebanon is fully engaged in the war on terrorism. The paper also reports that Tunisian troops seized arms and documents bearing the symbol of ISIS from 2 cars near the Libyan border, as security tightened following 2 major attacks this year. From the UAE, the Khalij Times leads, reporting that a number of developmental projects being undertaken by the Roads and Transport Authority have been given the go-ahead by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. The paper also reports that Dubai will undergo a galactic makeover during the next 2 weeks as shooting begins on the next installment of the popular sci-fi franchise Star Trek. The Egypt Independent leads, reporting that the United States has approved the sale of an undisclosed number of Hellfire missiles to Egypt as part of a $357.8 million foreign defense sale. The paper also reports that a 5-member delegation from the British House of Lords arrived in Cairo on Wednesday evening to meet with a number of Egyptian officials to discuss the latest developments in the region and the political situation in Egypt. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines from the UK papers. The Guardian leads its Middle East news, reporting that Republican frontrunner Donald Trump has warned that Syrian refugees seeking asylum in the US could be a 5th column sent by ISIS. In a speech in Keene, New Hampshire on Wednesday, Trump expressed his revulsion at the idea that the US would take in 200,000 Syrian refugees, warning that they could be ISIS. They are all men and they are all strong. The Telegraph leads, reporting that Iran's Football Association has been accused of being unethical after it is claimed 8 players in the women's national team are men awaiting sex change operations. On Wednesday, authorities reportedly ordered gender testing of the entire national squad and leading league players. The names of the players thought to be male were not revealed. The Independent leads its Middle East news, reporting that Russia has reportedly begun airstrikes on Syria for a second day. According to the Lebanon-based Al Mayadeen TV, Russian jets bombed rebel positions in Syria on Thursday, including rural areas near the northwestern town of Jizr al-Shugur, which is held by an alliance of insurgents, including Al-Qaeda-linked Nusra Front. Now let's take a look at the top Middle East headlines in the international papers. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle reports that President Mahmoud Abbas has said that the Palestinian territories cannot abide by the Oslo Agreement because of Israel's reluctance to commit to the deal, as Palestinians raise their flag at the UN for the first time. And finally, China's Global Times reports that the Middle East Quartet on Wednesday announced the intention of another round efforts to jumpstart the peace process between the Israelis and Palestinians, reaffirming the steadfast commitment to achieving a 2-state solution. The Quartet is a diplomatic group which includes the United Nations, the European Union, Russia, and the United States in search of the 2-state solution. And for more updates, please visit levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Bye for now.